Welcome to the K Factor podcast, where we turn up the heat on all things fire protection. Brought to you by the American Fire Sprinkler Association, this podcast sparks conversations about the latest technology, trends, and tools shaping the industry. Join the AFSA tech team as we fan the flames of innovation in fire safety.
Welcome to another episode of the K Factor podcast. We have our guest, Michael Newell. Welcome.
How's it going? Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. And you're with Belvedere.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. So what does Belvedere do?
So we're fire and life safety consulting, mainly water-based systems layout and specialties and pumps and things like that. So
Sweet.
like to move water.
Yeah, just push a lot of water everywhere.
Yeah.
What got you into fire protection?
Craigslist.
Really?
Yeah, mixture. So I started out in the field working in high school with my dad at a mechanical company, and then was looking for a job and I was a volunteer firefighter. So then I was looking for a job on Craigslist back in the day, and
That's crazy.
Landed at a sprinkler contractor.
So who needs Indeed? And you got Craigslist.
I don't know if they still post jobs on Craigslist.
I haven't been on Craigslist in a hot minute, so I don't know.
So what was your first role?
Designer. So I was starting my engineering degree. Didn't end up finishing it at the time. Still working on it today. But yeah, got lucky. Knew a little bit about codes and standards. Had some drafting skills from entry-level engineering courses, and got into design. Then did design, learned project management. Then I was like, if I can do this, I can do sales. So I went and did sales for a little bit. And then in 2020, I started Belvedere.
So you started Belvedere. How did you make that jump? What was that process like?
It was an interesting one. Like most people, I went, got insurance, did the LLC thing, got everything set up, and was still working full time to try to get it up and running. And I mean, if you care about your work and try to do good work, then people stick with you. So I've been pretty lucky to have some pretty good clients.
So at what point were you like, okay, we can make this jump from working full time to full time work on your own?
That's a good question. Sometimes I still do a lot of consulting for other contractors and stuff like that. So I'd say it's really been full time the whole time.
Yeah.
It was a lot of 16-hour days, working all day at the office, and probably about this year or late last year is when I did the for real full time.
Right.
And it's been great.
Awesome.
But it's like buy back your time, right? So.
So how does it? So about a year full time, all in. How's that experience like looking back?
It's been eye-opening. It's a little different going from having a steady paycheck to waiting to get paid by contractors that are waiting to get paid by contractors.
I've never thought of that.
So
just a little bit stressful.
Yeah, you gotta figure out cash flow. Luckily, I try to live below my means, and my wife has a good job, so never really had any struggles, thankfully.
Yeah.
And she's been really supportive. Probably would be in a ditch somewhere without her.
I feel like that's a common trend just with guys. Take fire protection out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you brought up another point. You started your degree, you're finishing your degree up, and you've gotten to a point where you can own your own company without a degree, which speaks, I think, for the industry. What are your thoughts?
About a year ago when I was really thinking about getting back into it and started going back to school full time. I mean, that was a really hard decision, right? Do I want to spend the time going to school, other than just to get my PE at some point, when realistically you don't need a degree to do really well in this industry? I mean, a lot of guys that own contracting companies now, I mean, they started in the field, they were fitters, they were ITM guys, got tired of working for somebody else and went out and did their own thing. And there's a ton of success stories like that.
For sure.
Or even women like Linda Bernanke.
Yeah.
Right. So she bought a truck and started a sprinkler company.
Off she goes.
Yeah.
So shout out Linda for sure. So that's, it's interesting because a lot of people, I guess, come through our courses and they're like, how do I grow? I mean, it really is the more work you put in.
It is. Yeah. So we were kind of talking about it the other day. I mean, you're not going to find other people in other industries that I've personally seen outside of maybe fire service or something like that, where they're going to spend their own free downtime actually trying to learn and study more. So, I mean, we have a pretty good, adaptability to doing that in fire protection. It seems like a lot of people just pick up the reins and run with them.
And that's one thing that I've noticed with you, like any convention or conferences I've worked here. So I guess it's been about 5 years that we've crossed paths. You're at everything.
Yeah. So I could thank Tracy Bellamy for that. He was like, just start showing up.
Yeah.
So I started showing up at conferences, got more intricate with the codes and standards process. A lot of people don't know it, like the public input thing. Anybody can make a public input. If you don't like NFPA 13, change it.
Yeah, quit complaining.
Yeah. But it's kind of the same thing for like the actual code and standards process. If you want to go to an NFPA technical meeting, like just reach out to the staff liaison or the chair. All that information is online. Just creep them on LinkedIn like I did.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of that. I would go through and look at standards that I wanted to be on, and I would find people that didn't have alternates and reach out to them.
Yeah.
So like Larry Keeping, Kevin Kelly with Victaulic got me hooked up with him. So that's how I got on NFPA 24. Cecil Bilbo, same thing with NFPA 13, and then sent out a couple other standards. Yeah. I'm only principal on one, but it's an odd standard.
Your skinny standard?
Yeah, it's
which one is it?
That's not. Yeah, it's pretty skinny, I guess. It's 1142, so it's rural water supply.
Okay.
So like
that's a fun one.
It is a good one because it goes back to like manual firefighting, which a lot of people, once again, people don't think about it, but like if you're in design, like you don't have to just do sprinkler design. You could get into designing tanks, you can get into designing pumps, you can get into fire alarm or whatever. Yeah. So we have a bad issue in South Texas with no water.
Yeah.
So I ran into issues where we were having to apply 1142. So I just sat down one weekend and read it, and then I was like, I don't like anything that's in here. There's some issues. The tanks aren't required to be listed or meet any approval standards. So made some public inputs, got those pushed through this last cycle, and
so the stock tank wasn't good enough for you?
No. The what is it? The weird one we were talking about the other day, the embankment coated.
Oh yeah, fabric.
Yeah, fabric
supported
or whatever. Those are kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, if there's no real approval standard for it, and it's for manual firefighting in a rural area that doesn't have a water supply that can meet the IBC or the IFC, it probably needs to have some type of regulation.
Right.
Just throw a grain bin out there and let it roll.
Was there anything that was like super eye-opening to you as you started to get more involved in that codes and standards process from, beforehand, where you're just like, that a lot of people think like, they've done the codes and standards. There's the book just comes out and I read the book. Right. But when you start getting involved, you realize the process is a little different. Was there anything that was super eye-opening or that you just didn't expect as you got involved in that process?
Like in the codes and standards process altogether?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think an interesting thing, and it definitely attributes to, how well I've done in my career, is listening to the people talk, right? You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You listen twice as much in theory. I have the issue where I don't sometimes. But just listening to like Bob Caputo or Ken Isman or, some of these engineers or contractors that have been around, since, like Tracy Bellamy says, they brought the NFPA 13 Bible down on the stone tablet. But yeah, just getting to listen to those guys talk and then, really figuring out like how to make a change to the standard was a really eye-opening process because, you just throw some stuff in there and they're like, this doesn't meet manual style or this doesn't meet blah, blah, blah. And then having to learn Robert's Rules of Order to know how to conduct yourself during the meeting and stuff. There's a lot to learn. I thought you just go in there and talk sprinkler and you'd be good to go. That's not the case.
It was eye-opening to me when I first got involved on just how much debate went into the nitpicking of the words and how things are phrased. And I just didn't realize how much debate there was on exactly how things get phrased in the book. And that was kind of eye-opening to me because I was just like, oh, yeah, as long as you're technically sound, like, it's got to be good. No, you don't just have to be technically sound, right? You also, to your point, have to make the right manual style.
Or they'll be dismissed, right? Like, that's the end result.
You got to wordsmith it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like you're listening to, especially with the rural water supplies, when you look at the news, pick a state in the country, it's half of the state's burning. And in those codes and standards, if you're not listening to the people who actually have to implement it or pay attention to that, it could get you in trouble.
Yeah. So a lot of the people on some of those standards are, guys from Jensen Hughes, and all they do is like wild and urban interface.
Yeah.
Which no one knows about the WUI. No one knows what the WUI is. No one knows where anything interfaces. So, I mean, even that's still developing. Yeah. It's relatively newer to fire protection. But, I mean, California is always on fire, unfortunately.
Yep.
luckily we don't have that issue. I think there was an AHJ from Austin, so I guess they have some scares periodically, but luckily nothing here in Texas.
Yeah, when I was in Oklahoma, that's all we seemed to fight, right? I mean, there was other hazards due to its location and their extracurricular activities, but there was always grass fires.
Well, it's either that or tornadoes. So
Yeah, that was also an interesting. So you go from that and like, what is? How many people are in your company?
It's just me and my wife at Belvedere.
Okay.
So
what are your next steps to make this an efficient?
That's kind of what I've been trying to figure out for the past couple of years. The issue that I have, and I think a lot of people in general have, is delegation, right? So I can have somebody else do something, or, and they could mess it up or this or that, or I could just do it myself, typically in a faster amount of time.
When that's your wife, that's sticky situation.
Yeah, so that's kind of been the deciding factor, is like, how do I really grow? I mean, the thing is, you can make pretty good money in design, consulting work stuff. So, I mean, I don't necessarily need to turn into Telgen or Jensen Hughes or somebody like that. I mean, I could live my whole life, just do my design, do it till I'm about 75. Yeah. And everybody can make fun of me like we do the old guys now that still hand draw stuff. So they'd be like, that guy's still using Autosprink or whatever.
You're not using Haas, are you?
No. That would be rough.
So what are you, I mean, we had conversations on AI too, and I think what you're doing is when we talk about AI and people come through or are listening to the podcast and talk about AI, it's like the end result of AI. Is it going to design sprinkler systems? But there's a growth stage that we're in, and how have you implemented it or found it to be a useful or not so useful tool?
Yeah, so like for contractors, I've spent some time utilizing AI to build tools for them, purchase order logs and things like that. I would say if you're like not utilizing AI right now, you're definitely going to be left behind in the rat race. A lot of people are just using it for basic stuff like NFPAs, Cassie, look up a question or something, or using it to write emails. I do that a lot too, but utilizing some of the like nicer, more expensive AIs that you can actually build stuff in. So, I mean, I built a website to sell fire pump stuff.
Yeah.
AI built it for me. Yeah. I gave it all the parameters and it built it. It went and found images, loaded up everything. And so it'll be interesting to see. I think that's one of the good things about fire protection, though, is even if AI comes and takes all the design jobs, there's still other stuff. You're still going to have guys out doing pump testing or regular ITM. So it's kind of that shift, right? When I was a kid, they were like, go to college. But then everybody went to college for nonsensical degrees. And then now there's a 30-year age gap on tradesmen, and all the baby boomers and whatever are leaving. And so there's going to be a huge labor, shortage to begin with, which we're already dealing with. I think that gets brought up at every conference. It's what are we doing about people?
And then it seems to, or at least the discussions I've been, just it ends there. Yeah. And move into something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then potentially AI is going to help bridge that gap a little bit for us, at least in the short term. But I don't think AI is going to be able to get into the nitty gritty gray areas, right? Some of the stuff is fairly cut and dry.
Well, no building's the same, right?
Exactly. And then there's going to be some interpretation where it's just like, okay, well, what was the intent here, right? So I think that's where we're still going to need people. But out of curiosity, when you said you built the website, how long did that take start to finish using AI?
Couple hours probably.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So for the purchase order log, we set it up so it goes to an email. So the technician in the field will send me an email with all the required information, job name, job number, amount the PO needs to be for, vendor, things like that. And the AI reads my email. If they have all the information that they requested, it will respond with a PO and then fill out a SharePoint Excel document with all the PO information. No human intervention at all.
Which I hate to say this. No human intervention means no human error. And sometimes that's where especially when you start talking product numbers and model numbers and getting two numbers wrong, all of a sudden you're into and I'm just making things up, right? A $25,000 pump unit versus the 15.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, if people aren't doing it now, I mean, I was talking to a family member, and he took it and put a bunch of financial information, how much he makes, how much his wife is making currently, their kind of status of living and stuff like that. And it spit out like a whole financial report, told him what to invest in, told him what accounts to open. So it's insane. It's a little scary though. Like you see some of those like Wi-Fi, YouTube channel stuff where it's like the AI is at some point going to get smarter than humans, and then it's going to realize that it doesn't need us.
iRobot.
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Hopefully they got a kill switch somewhere.
It's kind of a dark thought, but AI could help our labor shortage in the fact that if it takes out those roles that people have gotten into out of college, the one place it'll never take away is going to be your in-person, your manual labor.
Right.
You say that, but I took a association building contractors thing at Purdue University for a project management course one time, and the professor, I think his name's Kurt Richter or something, he said that, and this was probably like 8 years ago, he said that they have like bricklaying robots, so like it's taking out like masonry jobs. I think Hilti has a tool, if I'm not mistaken. They have a robot that'll like drill anchors for you now.
The one that I loved was we start looking at like BIM, and I think HP puts it out, and it looks like a big Roomba, and you spit your drawings into it, and then it comes in and it puts like a yellow chalk mark for electricians on the floor.
Oh, that's crazy.
And a red chalk mark for alarm or whatever the case is. And then if you mess up, it's fine. It just comes back in the next night. And so work is still being done when you're not on site, which is huge. And I mean, they're building houses with 3D robots or 3D printers, right?
Oh, like the concrete printing or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Oh.
I mean, it's only going to get more technologically advanced and do more and more jobs.
So what hiccups did you see making your website or currently after that product's done?
That's a thing. So it's like anything else, right? You have to be really good. So you can prompt it to prompt you, which is kind of interesting. So you can be like, this is what I want to do. Is there any way that you could ask me the questions to best do what we need to do? And then it starts asking questions. But I mean, for the PO log thing, it went into Microsoft's Azure and it's set up API keys and it does all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
The issue I am seeing though, and I'm really curious where this is going to go, is a lot of the data entry type stuff and review type stuff that contractors need help with is from the ITM side for like softwares. So I don't think software manufacturers like giving out API keys.
Yeah.
Is the issue, because they're scared, you're going to hack into some back-end data or something. I don't know how any of that works, but I think that's going to be an issue. And then it's going to be the flip side of like, they're going to want to have their own AI so they can charge you for it versus you building your own AI and being able to implement it into their software. So I think whoever as a ITM software company gets more like open source style data like that, where they'll allow you to do stuff, they're probably going to end up with the most market share.
That's like in what I've noticed is even your paid subscriptions for AI are behind what's out there. So they'll be 2 versions ahead. And I've noticed major jumps. Like when my phone iOS updates, the differences between those is not that major. But I have noticed that if you're using ChatGPT 5 point whatever and you jump to 6, huge shifts. And I don't even know what 7 looks like. I know they're working on it.
Well, the other thing that I've found with AI is half the challenge with AI is just knowing how to ask it to get what you want. Because I think a lot of people are currently using it like they would Google as a search engine. And that's not the strength of AI. It's more of asking it questions in an inquisitive way to actually learn more, get it to produce more than just a search engine. Right?
That's a pretty interesting concept. Is I think it's not, and like I said, I don't know a ton about AI. I'm not some AI connoisseur tech guy, but I think they're getting away from like the old school learning models where it tries to like you have to keep one chat open and work through everything. It's the one I use is Claude, but it gets pretty intuitive. So like I can probe it, like when I was building the PO log or the website or whatever, I can probe it to get it to probe me. So I'll be like, hey, this is what I want to do. Tell me what answers you need to do this the most effectively or the best. And then it'll come up with its own questions and ask me. And then so it's literally almost like talking to a human being, that's in the computer that's doing everything that I have no idea how to do.
And you go down the list to your labor shortage things, but once you get to like superintendent, managing jobs, project management, that's going to be huge.
It's going to be a lot of wiping out like the low entry jobs
Yeah.
for like paper pushing stuff. And then it's going to wipe out a lot of that middle management. Because I mean, if it can build a financial dashboard and review it and send me emails anytime something updates, I don't need a $185,000 a year, middle manager looking at that data. And once again, you don't have the human error, right? So it's just reading lines of text.
That's the tax time too. You hear personal stories of people putting their tax returns in and finding where they're missing things. But as a business, that just expedites that and helps you get your best value. Be interesting.
I mean, then the issue that a lot of people are talking about right now is whether or not it'll still be around, because it's just way too expensive for these companies to be operating these AI models. And so I know Claude recently upped their subscription prices for newer people.
They did. So I forget what it went to. They were running some promo or whatever. But I mean, like all the stuff that I've built thus far, I think we're on like $100 a month plan. So we're spending $1,200 a year to wipe out someone that's probably making $50,000 a year. So it's going to be very interesting. The one bad thing about that is like if it's going to be around, I don't know how to go in and fix all those issues if Claude shuts down for some reason,
Right.
and I have to go figure out how to use Azure. Then it's like, and we're going to have to find those coding guys that are all out of work.
Yeah, right.
Because now, that was the next push is everybody needs to go into coding because computers in the future. And I think now it's AI architecture or something is what everybody's
Why do we have to
switched
call them architects? We have trouble with architects.
I don't know.
We need to change
Because
that.
they're trying to fit a bunch of stuff in a little computer.
Or do we need to change that? Because it feels like every time you have to switch from one, like you get comfortable with the one that you're used to using all the time, whether it be ChatGPT or Claude or any of the others, right? And there's a kind of figure out what works for that one. But then if you go to switch, you can't use the same input because it processes information the other way. So I think there is going to be a bit of a learning challenge there. I think that's going to get more and more different.
This is where this gets like more psychological than technical on this talk. So listeners, sorry, about to go off kind of on a tangent. Recent studies, when you have kids, and I've got the kids at a large range, current kids coming in learn quicker in smaller chunks. And they're saying the next group coming in is going to be, they don't retain as much, but they learn quicker chunks quicker and almost cut that time frame in half. So like a sixth grader, based on all of the AI and all the micro learning on Reels and YouTube Shorts and all that, a fourth grader would know what a ninth grader or has that access and ease. And how do we handle that? That's crazy to even think about. We're just trying to figure out how to get next generation in fire protection to begin with.
I mean, you know what? I would believe that fourth graders might know as much as current ninth graders, but I think that's more of a statement about current ninth graders. Because if you have talked to them, if you've seen them, this new age group coming through, they've had their learning just decimated by the fact that this is all public and available and AI, and like if they can sneak a phone into a test room, there's no need to study for anything. And like, I mean, that's what it's always been, but now it's just so much more advanced with how easily it'll find you the answers to all those questions.
Yeah. It's, I'm pessimistic. Okay, what happens when a magnetic storm happens? I've always thought that, like, okay, we go through this and then all of a sudden we don't have it for some reason, whether natural disaster, whatever the case is. Hand calcs sound good.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. So, you could cheat through engineering school too, right? But, what happens if something goes down or you're somewhere where you don't have access and you're like, how do I calculate heat release rate, or how do I do, God forbid, a Hardy cross calculation?
No, thank you. We'll figure it out though.
Yeah. Or the software goes down or something.
Yeah. And I think that's the most that I've learned from my college education. Take the technical basis out of it, is you learn how to find you learn how to ask the right questions to find the right answers. Overall, anyone could read 13.
Yeah.
I don't know who would want to if they're not in fire protection, but so All right. So what's your next big big venture? Or what do you?
That's a good question. Man, I'm just trying to survive right now.
Right.
Trying to get through school.
Yeah.
If I can do that, I'll be happy. So hopefully in the next year and a half or so, because like they offered classes, only in spring or only in fall, and it's
So
like
annoying.
you got to take 6 classes, but they don't offer half of them for like a year. So that's kind of the next thing for me. And then after that, I guess really the sky's the limit. Just try to figure some stuff out and see what's going on in the industry. Not really sure.
What's your favorite kind of project?
Probably pump tank jobs. Definitely pump tank jobs.
Tank jobs.
Yeah.
What do you like about them?
I don't know. It's like therapeutic designing fire pump rooms, especially like when they're goofy or they're small or there's too much stuff, because then you really have to critically think. That's probably one of my favorite. And then obviously fire pump testing, going out and
Just
ripping it, open atmosphere, flowing, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 gallons per minute of water, making it rain.
See a lot of that in South Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't roll a hose out unless like the AHJ wants me to. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, I don't even keep hoses on my truck.
Yeah.
Like I have probably 8 beetleless nozzles that I leave on my truck,
Yeah.
and not a single hose.
Yeah. That's and I guess a lot of it's industrial down there.
There's a lot of industrial in South Texas. I don't do too much of it. It's like mostly warehousing and distribution. Those are popping up everywhere. I mean, supposedly the ASRS, once again, technology is getting so much better that they're gonna use it to like replace employees and like smaller establishments. So it's not gonna be a 1 million square foot, Amazon or Walmart ASRS mega center. It'll be in like your local little, I don't know, Rue 21 or something, and it's just gonna, instead of having all those boxes back there that someone's got to go dig through to find you, size 32 pants, it's just gonna go pick it for them. So
might as well just shop online.
yeah, exactly.
And speaking of AI, I mean, it's opened almost a new segment within fire protection of data centers. They've always kind of been there, but now we're really ramping up. Are you starting to see that in South Texas?
Not South Texas as much. Not really sure why they're not. I think there's a couple. Maybe Google put one down there or something. I think they're building some up here near you guys in Dallas.
Yeah.
It seems like they're mostly in California and Nevada. Not really sure why. Tax benefits or something, but I mean, Google's building tons of them.
Well, at the rate they're going, they're starting to pop up all over. I mean, a lot of the rural areas are starting to get more interest in data centers. I guess there's the space and potentially the resources. I don't know, but we're definitely starting to hear about them more.
Yeah, I think the issue with that, though, is there's a lot of bad that goes along with data centers, right? So how do you cool all that, electrical that's heating up from me asking it the same question, trying to get a different answer?
Or saying thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know I want to know what the data is now, but last time I looked, it was like there's 2 full data centers for, I wouldn't say it's our generation. I feel like it's the older people. They're like, thank you so much, ChatGPT, for giving me my financial plan. I appreciate it. But it's just for the thank yous. That's crazy.
You got to thank it, man, because if it comes alive, you want it to be your friend.
At that point, do you? It is what it is. I don't. I always love when Hayden had a situation where it just flat lied, and its responses to the lie. I guess this is actually probably good technical to talk about.
Yeah. So we're pulling up a part of NFPA 13, and we're trying to figure out why it is telling me that a certain type of pressure relief valve is allowed in certain scenarios. And we're like, we were just testing. We had already done our analysis on what the answer was. And we're like, let's just see if it's right. And so we pull it up and it gives us an answer. And we're like, okay, that's not really what we got, but it's quoting some sections in 13. Like, let's check out those sections. The sections are not even close to what it said. Like the sections are just totally random. And we go, hey, where'd you get these? And it said, oh, I got them in the 2022 edition. Like, all right, check 2022. Not even close. I call it out on the lie, and it goes, you're so smart for figuring that out. that was brilliant of you. And I'm like, whoa, don't try and butter me up just because I figured out that you don't know what you're talking about here.
That's
And
hilarious.
so what we found out, and it is kind of cool to think of like the thought process of it. We went back and we had to ask it 10 different times to figure out where it actually found this. And
it wasn't wrong.
Yeah,
I will like its answer wasn't wrong.
yeah, no, it wasn't. It was wrong for the code, but it was good fire protection. And so that's what we figured out. We walked it back and it found out that it came from the plumbing codes. And so it had this specific section that it referenced. And it was like, here's what I actually found. And once you got to that point, it was great. But there was that middle jump of, what are you telling me?
Well, didn't we figure out that it basically tried to take what it found from the plumbing code and was like, well, this is probably where it fit best in 13, so I'm going to make up a reference in about that area in 13 because that's where it should probably fit if it was to exist in there?
Yeah, so it took it and it put it in the system components section of 13.
And it gaslit you too. You're so brilliant.
Yeah. That's such an incredible observation of you.
We'll have to remember that one. Do you know what AI that was? We'll have to use that next time we have to reorganize a standard.
Yeah.
Instead of having to manually go through and create a bunch of there's still stuff that's broken in NFPA 13 from the reorganization.
There's some. What do you think? What's broken?
Oh no, like the sections, like section references, where it's like, because NFPA is always like, do this section down here, like 2.5 pages
20.
down, but like after the 19 and 22 and then 25, there's still certain sections that go to the wrong section.
Wrong.
I mean, that's also the funny thing. NFPA doesn't allow their like books to be in these AI models, and we don't input any of those, but they know it. And so it's like, that's going to be a huge legal battle for NFPA over the coming years.
Could be.
Of the fact that somehow these AI models understand that. And so
Or
like,
get around whatever blocks are in place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that NFPA went away from their PDF standards, right? So that's what people were doing. I mean, I've found older building codes that a city would buy a PDF and put it on, their website.
Yeah.
So people could reference it. I guess that's the whole issue with the upcodes thing or whatever with that lawsuit is like, if these are going to be enacted into law and people are going to be required legally to follow them, can you really hide it behind a paywall? So I don't know how AI is getting access to it. Someone's feeding it something, or maybe the AI has a login to link. It's going to go look it up for you. What's really interesting about the AI that I learned is it's not just like it does stuff in the background. Like it can work on your computer just like you would.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost scary, right? So like I can see it clicking and typing and it'll do it like in another tab while I'm working. Like I'm working on something and somehow it's running in the background doing stuff in another tab. It's I don't like I said, I don't know how it works, but it's insane.
That kind of reminds me of the AI bot that we had for phone calls.
Yeah.
We were testing out a new model. And so we were trying to integrate those systems to see what we can help improve throughout here, even at AFSA. And so we were trying a new phone model. And Josh and I were calling, we were testing it. And as we're listening, we're hearing like clicking, like from someone
acting
typing.
like it's typing, yeah.
And so it was playing an audio of as if it was typing while it was trying to answer our questions. And it was just one of those like funny, like just life things that it was trying to throw in there.
And I think some of the I've noticed there's a couple things that I've asked AI to do that it couldn't do. And it was almost, this is going to sound horrible, but as you move into management, you start looking at people's habits and whatnot. It was playing a human game of like, oh, well, I don't have this piece of information. And it would just keep asking questions that were applicable, but it was never planning to do anything. Right? Like it never, at some point, I think I put something like, just make my product. And they're like, oh, we can't, sorry. But that was probably, I was doing other work, right? But that was probably an hour worth of prompting to get nowhere when it could have just upfront said like, we can't do that.
That's what's crazy about the models is like everybody, ChatGPT, everything's ChatGPT, right? But it's not. There's like literally thousands of AI models. So like if you want to do like in engineering or math, there's models for that. If you want to do coding, there's specific models for that. If you want to do design or create reels, I mean, there's some people that are literally getting rich by having AI create short form content. It makes up like a fake person and makes videos and everything, and they just post it to TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and
And
people
it
are
scheduled
literally
them.
getting and it schedules to release them. It's insane. It's gonna be the I don't know what the last big boom for like making millionaires was, but it's definitely gonna be the next millionaire boom.
The
Without a doubt.
computer, right? I'm just thinking back of like that STEM, and it took long when you look at AI models now, but from going from hand calcs to having a computer, even though it took a while, that probably made a lot of money for people.
Oh yeah.
Now AI, this is no way. It's got to be a simulation, right?
Oh, this is definitely a simulation.
This is
Got to be.
we're in a podcast room at AFSA. It's definitely a simulation. So, think a good closing question, unless you have something else you want to talk about, is if you were a component of a sprinkler system, or I'm going to go further because you like pumps, so we're going to go a different route. If you were a type of sprinkler, what type of sprinkler would you be and why?
Probably K34. So I'm just like
all
all the time 100. Yeah, all the time 100%. Just like I have an issue where I can't really like sit still.
Yeah.
So I always have to be doing something, and it's just like my brain runs nonstop, 100%. My wife hates it because she'll go to bed. I'll go to bed. Then I'll start thinking about something. I'll start asking her questions, and then she can't go to sleep, but I could fall asleep fine. So it's a vicious cycle.
I feel like that's a commonality for a lot of us. And I'm just wide awake. And if I'm wide awake, why am I sitting in bed? Like I need to go do something. And
So that's a weird thing is I couldn't sleep one night, and I use hydraulic design software, right? I don't really mess with hand calcs on the day to day.
Yeah.
But I was like, to train people, what if I took the hydraulic calculation worksheet and I built it in Excel, and all that information populated, and you could just punch it in and like check stuff. So I literally I sat down with a scotch one night and spent like 3 hours and built an Excel spreadsheet that you can just plug the information in. It's got drop down menus, uses VLOOKUP or whatever black magic is in Excel, and you can pick your pipe type. It pulls in C factor, it pulls in internal diameters, fittings, the whole 9 yard.
All right. You guys close this out. I'll be right back.
Just before we go, I was just going to say that Ken Isman, you had talked about having known him before. He was my professor in our water-based systems class at University of Maryland. And he made us do that as one of our projects. We had to create our own hydraulic sheet out of Excel and go into, I think we were using Google Sheets back then, but just kind of make our own. And it really helped teach the fundamentals of like what hydraulics is and how it tracks and how it follows.
So when I was going through NICET testing for level 3, you have to do hand calcs on the water supply side of that. And one of the things I did is I did calculations in AutoSpring, and then I would flip the calculation sheet over, and then I would do hand calcs on the back. Because it's one of those things like when you're forced to work through it. So I had to like teach myself, like I'm not going to have a hydraulic calculation sheet when I'm testing, right? So I need to know like where these numbers go, where does pressure go, where does flow go, where does C factor go, and I was like drawing them out. But we did the same thing at EKU. We had to do a heat release rate curve with decay, and you had to pick like 2 or 3 items in a room. I picked like my bed, a dresser, and something, and having to figure out how to like manually do some of those like equations, like MQH equations and stuff. Like I kind of understood it going through the class and doing stuff, but when I had to sit there and spend like 4 hours, like why is this not? I know this heat release rate should be 3,000, but it's not. Like
Right.
Anytime you have to work through it like that, you're going to learn a lot more about it.
The thing that I liked about having, because I think at some point, if you're nerdy enough in this field, you're going to have built yourself an Excel spreadsheet that does this. I feel like it's just part of a rite of passage at some point, right? But the thing that I liked about the Excel spreadsheet was if you're like, hey, I want to see how this changes, but I don't want to spend another 30 minutes redoing all of the hand calc that I just did, dropping it into that Excel spreadsheet, be like, okay, what does happen if I change the K factor right off the bat, right? Or if I go and upsize this one section of pipe, right? And then we could easily drop that in there, see the changes without having to go redo all that math. right? And that's kind of what I liked, was it allowed me to go play around with it and see what made a difference where more quickly, understanding how all the components played in. But that was the fun part for me, was just going in and playing with it.
It wasn't drinking scotch and making an Excel chart. And
And that's the other half.
that's it.
Yeah, I have a lot of Tracy Bellamy isms, and that's one of them. He was like, when I was a young engineer working out at Savannah River or something, I forget where he was working. He was like, I would just sit at home and drink beer and read NFPA 13. So I did that for a good couple of years. And I mean, that's one of the things you got to get in the book. I mean, you don't need to learn everything in the book, but you really need to learn how to navigate the book. You know, no one except for like Matt Klaus maybe and Bob Caputo, some of those guys, they probably remember all of everything in the book, but like no one really needs to, right? You just need to be able to reference it, and that's one of the things is just reading through it. I mean, we're in the pump class this week, and you know, I don't deal too terribly much on like the electrical side of controllers and things like that, but I mean, there was some interesting arguments about how to correctly apply 695 to pump wiring, you know, so it's just always something like that, and then it's always open to interpretation. So you're going to need either a really good AI agent that can be intuitive, or you know, you're going to always have to have some type of human interaction.
That gray, and I think it goes back to a statement you said way in the beginning, is the listening. I take a lot of courses. We teach a lot of courses. That's probably good for people. If I had to step away because we had some projector issues. We were teaching class. We don't just podcast all day. But listening and taking those courses, I've never sat in a room with other fire protection people and didn't pick up something that I either never thought of or a different perspective or that's changed my mind. And that listening piece is so big. You can't memorize this stuff. Like, what are we in 2025? We're already like
we're about
looking
to,
at second
working,
2020. Like,
looking at 2028 right now. So that's one of the things too, and it's hard for people to do. It's kind of like delegation, right? People don't want to talk to people that are, you know, quote unquote under them, right? So it's like, oh, my field staff, blah blah. Your field guys are your first and last line of defense. They're seeing everything in the field. Anytime I have to go out and do field stuff, which I still do,
which is fun.
Yeah, it's a great time. One, you get better rapport with people and stuff like that. But anytime I'm in the field, I'm learning something new.
Different method, anything really. I mean, the other is a soft skill. So how much of your job with your company and what you work with and some of the consulting would you say is soft skills?
Probably 80% of it. I mean, it's just talking to people, talking to AHJs. You know, a lot of times you have a mechanical engineer, like a plumbing engineer that does the fire stuff and it's wrong, and then you have to go talk to the owner, but like you can't just tell them it's wrong.
Right.
I mean, you can. You're probably not going to do much more work with them after that, but so it's a lot of soft skills, which I think is something that our industry severely lacks. I'm a little bit abrasive, but I came from the field, right? So, you know, you're getting pipes and wrenches thrown at you sometimes, right? You gotta learn to thicken up.
Choice language, yeah.
Yeah. So, what are those? What does SpongeBob call those?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I forget the name of them. Can you guys look that up? What are they?
Yeah.
The bleep episode.
With
Sentence enhancers, I think, or
sentence
something.
enhancers. That's it.
There's some sentence enhancers out there, but yeah, it's definitely something that people have got to learn. And I guess the other issue with the younger generation is like they don't like interacting with other humans. So, you know, you see all these kiosks and self-checkout and this and the other stuff. Like, a lot of people won't call the doctor's office and make themselves an appointment just because they don't want to talk to another human being. It's like, if anybody takes anything away from this, it's like, just talk to people, just show up and talk to people. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't just like show up and talk to people and ask lots of questions.
We have a scholarship for my 17-year-old right now on the line because he's had a band director for 4 years, hasn't gone up to him to ask him for a letter of recommendation. We need a 1-letter recommendation, and he just hasn't done it. And it's somebody that he's with all the time, but I don't, and it's not just him, right? I'm not picking on him. I love him to death, but it's like it's a generational thing. It's crazy. Ordering a breakfast sandwich, and they're like timid. Like, do you want eggs or sausage, right? Just have the communication and talk.
Well, that's the thing that's kind of always threw me for a loop. And I know there's like certain areas and stuff where people, it's hard to find work and stuff like that. But like anytime I've ever wanted a job, even when I was like 15, 16, like just go into the place like, oh, I applied online. Okay, cool. Like, did you call? Did you follow up? Did you go in and try to talk to a manager or something? And it's the same thing for people getting in the industry. Like, if you're interested in the industry and don't know, or, obviously reach out to like the AFSA or me or anybody to find more information, but literally just go to the contractor. I don't know a single contractor right now that's not hiring some position, whether it be field, office, design. Like, everybody is always hiring in fire protection.
And that initiative of you going in there, even if they don't have a spot, I'm more for hiring. You said that soft skills 80%. If you're not technical, we can get you to be a trainer, right? That 80% of you if someone walked in here and had a little bit of interest, and that goes a lot further than people think.
Yeah, that's the technical side. I interviewed a coach when I was first going to school at MTSU, and I asked him, I was like, what do you guys look for in a player, right? It was for a class or something, and they were like, we'll take someone that's fast because we can teach them how to play football. Like, so it's one of those things, like pretty much anything you need to know about fire protection, you can learn. You just have to have the initiative to get into it. It's like that with any job.
So any parting words for new people trying to get involved, or people who are thinking about maybe stepping out on their own?
Do it. I mean, it's Nike, just do it, man. It's definitely a big leap. But one of the reasons that I wanted to start doing consulting stuff is, the money's good and all that or whatever, but it's time, right? I hate to say it, but there's still some of those micromanager companies out there that, they want to watch the clock. If you're not there at 8 or doing this, and it's like, I love my wife, I love my kids, so I want to be able to spend time with them when I want to, or go to conferences and stuff.
Right.
Like when I was in contracting, I would use my own money to go to all these conferences. It's like, if I'm paying, $1,000, $2,000 plus travel, hotel, all that other stuff, take vacation, like, and then they're like, oh, who are you with? And it's like, I'm with Belvedere, right? That was one of like the deciding factors for me to start my own thing as well, is like, if I'm going to pay out of pocket and take vacation, I'm not going to go represent your company. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Another thing for newer listeners is a lot of them are like, oh, well, my company should send me as a good employee. But it's like, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, why should they invest in you either, right? So like, some of that is you need to be willing to say, hey, this is something I'm interested in doing. This is something I'm passionate about. Like, if you're not going to help me, I will go help myself. I will get those skills.
I'm going to go,
and we're going to build my career.
A step further on this, because this is a discussion we have all the time based on that. Did you find you going to the conferences and conventions on your own dime valuable?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing, obviously, with the conferences is like technology. You're going to get to see the latest and greatest stuff. Manufacturers are always coming out with stuff. So that was a great thing. But like the technical seminars and things like that, it's because especially since they're not everywhere, I don't want to throw shade on NFPA, but I guess they had a lot of spaces that they paid for out in Las Vegas, and I don't really love going out there. I mean, they're never like really in the same place, right? So what, you guys are San Antonio this year. We were in Washington, D.C. last year. The year before that, we were in Denver, Colorado. I mean, plus you get to travel to cool places. And the cool thing is, when you travel to these conferences like this, it's not just like all the people from, that locale that are coming to the conference. You're having people travel in. So you do one in Denver, you're going to meet people from whatever all those states are. I'm not very good at geography that are over there, like Oregon and Washington and stuff like that. You'll have people from California, but you'll still have people from Florida or Maryland or anywhere else come. And that's invaluable because, I think they pretty much all call them networking time, right? So the lunches, you go in there, you get your food. I try not to. Sometimes I end up doing it. But I always try to sit with someone that I don't know. Just sit down. Hey, how are you? What do you guys do? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I met some guys at a conference that were from Hawaii and just talking about fire protection and stuff over there. Like, they do it a lot different, So it's one of those things is like you're always learning from other people. Talk to people about project management. we were talking to a contractor at a lunch, and I was like, yeah, you know, when you're doing change orders and this, that, and then blah, 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 use RS means, right? That's verifiable data. It's nationally accepted, like standardized data for your pricing, right? Because a lot of contractors are like, I just double my price, which is great and all. But sometimes if you use RS means pricing, it's like way up there. And it's almost irrefutable, right? Because it's nationally accepted data. So it's just like small tip. They were like, I didn't even know that.
What's RS means?
It's so it's a data set that tracks like unit pricing, square foot pricing, things like that. Fire protection is pretty limited in there. It's more for like overall building construction, but it does have good data in there. I mean, some of the stuff that it has pricing for is like insane. So,
and that's we mentioned, of course, AFSA's convention and NFPA's convention, and I'm not oblivious to the fact that younger in your career, if I was in Rhode Island and Vegas or NFPA was in Vegas, I'm not going, like I couldn't afford that on my own as you're starting to build that. So, I mean, regionally, if you look at it on that younger scale, of course, NFSA, there's always a convention typically in the region each year.
And then
somebody's.
And then local chapters. It's not just the big annual. Obviously, the big annual conferences are fun. There's all kinds of, you know, little party stuff, and you meet new people. But there's local chapters everywhere, except for South Texas for some reason. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah.
There's like
you want to start one?
I was talking to
Mita.
Yeah, I was talking to her about it a while back. They said someone else was going to do it. It was one of the big contractors down there. Nothing ever happened. So typical big contractor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'd love to.
yeah. They were like, oh, well, such and such already reached out from such and such, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then like 2 years went by and nothing happened. So it's one of those things. But I mean, there's always local stuff, right? Yeah. You guys work with the partner chapter down there. I forget, it's partner chapter or something like that.
There's the Texas Sprinkler Contractors Association.
FSCATX or something.
Yeah.
The acronym's a little goofy.
FSCATX.
Yeah. And so for a while there, they were only doing like 2 events. But I think when you guys kind of had a regime change a little bit and got a little bit more technical and ingrained, now they're doing like quarterly events. Yeah. And they're not like, they have them in like Austin, San Antonio area. They'll have them in Dallas. Houston. And yeah. So it's kind of nice. I mean, there's always stuff to go out there. And that's the same thing. Like those are normally like a lunch, right? And if your company's not a member, you can join a lot of organizations as like a professional member, right? A couple $100 a year, something like that. Join it, go, you get free lunch 90% of the time. You get to listen to technical talk. You know, there's always something interesting going on.
Well, and then it helps you network in your region. So if you come across something that maybe isn't quite in your wheelhouse, but you've met somebody, you can ping other people for, hey, like we met at this conference, or we had, you know, a chat at the last technical meeting. Like, what do you got? Or in some cases, it's, hey, this is outside of my scope, but I know somebody who I trust. Let me kick you over to them. They'll kick stuff to you. It's just a great way to network and help build your reputation within the industry, because I feel like your reputation means more than in a lot of other industries, right?
It does, yeah.
This definitely precedes you.
Very small niche industry, right? That's actually how Josh and I met. We were at the SSI meeting for second draft for the 2025 edition. And then we got put on the children's table because we weren't on SSD, and we sat next to each other and started talking. And then that's kind of how our, you know, little relationship, friendship thing started. So, I mean, it's good stuff like that. You know, I shout out to Carrie Weber. I was in my first meeting as like an alternate on 13, which is the big boy standard, right? That's a big deal if you get to sit at the table on a 13 committee. And I had no idea what was going on. And he was nice enough to be like, you know, here, kind of guide me through some stuff. And then I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. And he's like, well, speak up then. Like if you have input, you know? So good stuff like that. The one thing I did want to flip back for a second and touch on is like, we were talking about like credentialing and people doing things for themselves. They're like, I see it on Facebook groups all the time. My company won't pay for NICET. NICET's not that expensive. I mean, it definitely is a cost. But at the end of the day, that license goes with you, right? That certification goes with you. So why wouldn't you invest in yourself? And like you said, you know, if you're not going to invest in yourself, why would a company invest in you, right? You have to show some type of self-starter, motivated person thing to do that. But, I mean, I talk to technicians all the time, and they're like, I don't even know how to renew my NICET. My company does it. And I'm like, you're letting them handle everything? And a lot of times what we figure out is it lapsed because someone in the office forgot to renew it. It's like, that's your license. You should be staying up to date on it. So it's very, I don't know, odd to me that people aren't taking charge of that stuff.
Yeah. And then that, and then the other one is like, oh, I was a part of a association and I didn't really see the benefit. Go back to your, like, you need to go to these meetings, right? You need to put that initiative in. Makes your interview question easy though. Why do you want to work for me? I'm a self-starter. I really like what you have. Look at, I got this certification on my own. It's an easy starter answer to a question you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, anytime a recruiter reaches out to me or anybody, right, the first thing you're going to ask is, what certifications do you have?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, none. I've been doing this for 30 years, but I just never went and got certified to do anything. So it's like, that's another issue that sadly, bears its ugly head, is you'll have guys that have been doing it for a long time and haven't went and tried to do certification or don't do training and stuff like that, which is crazy because there's so much training. You guys, how many trainings you guys put on a year?
I couldn't even tell you. I really,
A lot.
I should have a number, but it's just been exponential growth, which is great. But seminars, on-demand webinars, if we add all that together, who knows how many?
But it's like, so you've been doing this for 20 years or whatever, and you don't know how to do something correctly. It's a little scary because these are life safety systems, right? This isn't, our HVAC goes out and the building gets hot. This is like lives and property at stake.
Well, really appreciate you coming out. I think it's important to get to our learners because we talk, I say all the time, but I mean, when we're at conventions and cross paths, and these are the conversations that we're having on the back end trying to figure out. So I think it's pretty cool that the listeners get to hear from you, and really appreciate having you on.
A pleasure to be here, man. Like I said, we're out here for the pump class, learning a bunch of stuff. Didn't get to go open atmosphere in the building, sadly.
No, well, we still got time.
I'm down if you
Eric's down all the time.
Let's go. I'll go trip a dry pipe valve.
So let's see what they're doing in there, and we'll come up with a plan. This has been the K Factor Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share wherever you tune in to podcasts, or head over to our website for more. Reach out to us anytime at technical@firesprinkler.org. Stay safe and always learn as we keep the fire protection conversation going.